Hello, I'm Garima, the Chief Marketing Officer of a nonprofit working in the area of human trafficking and a podcast host, interviewing for RedM. Small efforts, big impact. RedM is a grassroots movement that inspires and equips everyday professionals to make a difference in the lives of survivors of sex trafficking. Joining me today is Bonnie Marino, founder and CEO of Imhotep, who will be featured in the upcoming RedM Summit. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bonnie. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bonnie, let's understand your story. Tell us a bit about yourself, your roots, your background, your family. Help us understand who you are.
Well, right now I'm the owner of a nonprofit that fights against the human trafficking of boys. But for my personal story, I grew up at 10 years old experiencing rape, and until I was 20 years old a year ago, I have had a year without exploitation. And it just made me realize that there's not a lot of people that stand up for survivors, and this is a crime that happens in your backyard on a very small scale and a very large scale. So out of my personal experiences and realizing there's no demographic of trafficking or what rapists look like, I think it's important to stand up against it just so somebody has an opportunity to have a life without rape and without exploitation.
Bonnie, help me understand your family situation at that point of time. Who were these people, if I may ask, and how would you define safety within our homes?
At the beginning stage, when I was 10, I had not had the sex talk with my mother, so it was very confusing. And the people have been strangers, friends, family, and it's been quite a mess. But the people that actually listen to me have been counselors and other survivors, coworkers that went through the same thing. I've noticed that the people that are actually close to me and know me on a very personal level had a very, very hard time even acknowledging what I was saying. They thought I was crazy, living in a different reality. But now that I have submerged myself into the survivor world, I do realize that it is a very common thing to go through. So I think a safety net in situations like this are people that have an open mind to situations that they themselves have not been through, or people that have an open mind because they have already experienced it themselves.
Right, right. And at what point in your life did you decide that this is something you want to fight for, and human trafficking became such an important subject for you that you wanted to go ahead and act towards it? When was that moment?
For the human trafficking aspect, I was working at a pharmacy and I had some stalkers and just some horrible people. And turns out that they had a 15-year-old locked in their apartment being sold for sex. And I thought my stalkers were just stalkers. I wrote it off as a joke, but they're not. They were traffickers. And at that time, I realized how easy it is for somebody 5 years older than me to sell a human periodically, to sell children. And it was very scary on how elaborate their plan was and how nobody would do anything, not even inspect it, not even for a child. So at the point of me turning 18, I realized I was going to make an adult decision to not focus on myself, but focus on something that adults choose to not take care of and choose to not participate in fighting.
Right, right. And this also brings me to my question around the misconceptions and the myths, some of the myths that surround the entire issue of human trafficking and sex trafficking. If you had to highlight some important aspects which people do not have much awareness about, and you would like to inform them about, that these are certain misconceptions that we have around this subject, what would you tell us?
Um, my focus is with boys, and I had an experience where I had got raped in my apartment, and I was 16 years old, and the rapist after told me that he himself had been exploited as a child, and it was kind of an eye-opening moment that I can see not everybody hurting people because they've been hurt, but I definitely see how easy it is for men and boys to need to suppress that pain because they come out so shyly and they come out so without confidence to state that this happened to them. And I just really wanted to be a voice for people that feel like it's not normal and they should be ashamed of it, because they shouldn't, because there is no demographic on child exploitation. So I just wanted to stand up for the people that don't feel confident standing up for themselves.
Right, right. And what really inspired you to start with your organization, Imhotep? What does Imhotep really stand for today?
So, holistically ending trafficking is my biggest focus because all the programs are usually designed for girls or for women. And I understand boys are very, very different. And handling 300 boys at a time has never been done like this. So, I wanted to create a program that is not one size fits all. I want the boys to create their future and how to help each other in the next community. And also, I noticed a lot of boys and men turn their heads to girls even going through this situation. So I figured if we focused on boys, maybe there would be less purchasers, less victims, and they themselves would be helping the community in all aspects.
Right, right. And which part of the world Imhotep is focusing upon at the moment?
Right now, we are in Guatemala because the Mayan and Aztec children have taken a huge piece of my heart, and the boys there definitely need help because there's so much labor trafficking. Human trafficking is not just sex trafficking. I just really want to throw that out. There are some horribly disgusting labor trafficking cases happening in Florida, in Mexico, in Guate. So we really need to start focusing on all the areas of human trafficking, not just sex trafficking.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Bonnie, now the journey of becoming a survivor from a victim is definitely not easy. You yourself have been through that. And if we talk about these trafficked boys in Guatemala at the moment, how is Imhotep really looking forward to support them in this transition? How are you helping them through this journey?
The holistically ending trafficking, I cannot stress this enough because they get to decide what will benefit them economically, for their family situation, for whatever they want to do with themselves. We're going to make sure that there is a program and an opportunity available for them so that way they can have a thriving, successful, and healthy life. That is the only thing I want for them, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes for them to get there. So just the fact that we're survivor centered and trying to make this program for each individual, not the large group of people, I think the success will just be unstoppable because there will be nothing holding them back. We'll give them exactly what they need.
Right, right. And as individuals, if I would say, as individuals, there is so little that we can do, right? If you would have to urge the community to come forward and even individuals, what actions do you believe can really help these children or any victim of this heinous crime? What can we do as an individual to support them and help them get back to their real self, because it is something where everyone needs to come forward to support, be it our friends, be it families, be it non-profits, corporates. Everyone needs to take one step forward, right? How would you urge the larger community to take actions towards this fight?
The easiest answer for me to say is just educate yourself. Look at the signs, look at the stereotypes, look at the myths. Truly submerge yourself in what a victim could look like on all aspects of the crime. Because once again, there's so much focus on sex slavery that maybe you forget that there's domestic servitude or vice versa. So many times people ask me, how do you see this, how do you know? And I just educate myself. I know what the red signs, red flags, and um, personality, I think, also is a big thing. You can kind of tell when a child feels happy and free versus when they're feeling, something's tugging on them. So definitely just keep your eyes open.
Right, right. And now, Bonnie, if we go back in time, I really do not want to revisit the past, but I really want to understand in what ways has your experiences really affected you emotionally, psychologically, physically, and positive and negative in both ways, because you have definitely come forward as a brave human, as a brave soul, and now you are taking charge of the situation and you are urging other people to come forward and help. That is a brave step, and I want to understand how all these experiences have helped in shaping you into the individual you are today, and what would you tell the others in the same situation?
I think the biggest groundbreaker for how difficult it is to recover is because, in my experience, I went through this for so many years. So, periodically, I, of course, developed very unhealthy coping mechanisms. I have CPTSD, different mental disorders, and just reconnecting with myself and understanding that my body is my body and I get to decide what happens to my life has been my most personal transformation between what a victim looks like and what a survivor looks like. And then to raise your voice for other people. I think anybody, whether you're a teacher, a counselor, an advocate, a mentor, if you can step outside of your realm to help other people, I think that is just the greatest accomplishment that a human can do, especially when going through something so difficult.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in this journey, who has been your greatest support?
My greatest support has definitely been my mentor, Wes. He has seen me when I was at the very second month that I had not gone through rape for a year since I was 10, all the way up until now. He's been with me this full year, guiding me through business, through emotional stability, relationship stability, everything that I had lost through my childhood and teenage years that I was meant to have and meant to be given. He has truly given it to me back, and I cannot recommend a mentor so strong enough because they're like an anchor to just a crazy storm.
Right, right. That's so amazing to hear, Bonnie. And now, if you have to say something to your younger self, considering your experiences so far, something that you feel, you believe would have had a different path of action entirely, and there are things on which you have no control over, right? But there are things which are in your power, in your control, and you are the real anchor there. What would you tell your younger self if we go back in time? What suggestions, what advice would you give to that young girl?
I would tell myself that it is your body and you get to decide what is okay and not okay. Not your parents, not your peers. Nobody should ever be able to tell you if this is normal or okay. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you have every right to raise your voice and make sure these things don't happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Bonnie, now help our viewers understand where can they find more information about Imhotep, how can they connect with you and support you in this cause, where can they learn more about Imhotep?
There's the website at imhotepllc.com. You can find this on Facebook also. We have an Instagram page and a LinkedIn page. But the best way to reach out is definitely fill out the inquiry form, see what we're up to with the boys, look at the faces of the boys, get used to us because we're going to be posting a lot more faces and a lot more stories soon.
Right, right, absolutely. And what do you think about the organizations like RedM, like Redeemed Ministries? Why do you think it is so important, the work that they do and the kind of inspiration they bring around? Why is it so important? What role are they playing in our society today? And why is it important to support organizations like these?
I think all of us are filling in a gap. The RedM organization, the IFEIA organization have saved me on many, many accounts. They have been a backbone to my organization. Redeem Ministries is doing such similar work like me. We're really focusing on the victims because I can't help everybody, neither can Redeem Ministries. So we are definitely here to complement each other and make this a team player impact.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to everyone listening to us right now who is deeply committed to this cause and is doing their bit in spreading awareness about this subject, what is your message for them?
Please keep it up and please show other people what they're missing out on, because this is not just a crime that happens gently. It is extremely impactful and it takes years to get out of. I think the latest record was a 1% of these people having a chance of a life without slavery or a life without trafficking, and that's madness. We really need to step in. So please, feel your confidence, feel where your strength is, and rise with it, because we need it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to the young girls out there who have been through this trauma, who have been through these horrific experiences, but are trying to find themselves back in life, trying to uh, get back to their normal state of life, what would you tell them? What should they really focus upon? Because the message coming from you would really stand out in this case. It would really make a difference for them, because for somebody who has not been through it all, and for somebody who has been through it all and is still braving the change, that is where the impact lies. What is your message for them?
I would say, just, it sounds so cheesy, but loving yourself has changed my view on what peace looks like, what strength looks like. Meditation has given me a different view on what knowing myself looks like. And as much as I'd love to say, look to people that inspire you and learn from them, there's something very different about reaching inside of your soul and making your own light shine instead of trying to grab onto somebody else's light, where the true revolution starts inside of you, not outside of you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And to everyone listening to us right now, Bonnie's interview will be out soon in October. Stay tuned for our RedM Summit and make sure that you follow Bonnie and the organization Imhotep and the great work they are doing, and definitely RedM and Redeem Ministries. We are so thankful to Bonnie today for joining me on this interview, and it's been an absolute delight having you here with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.